Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Srivatsangam Mahoraskam, Vanamala Virajidam, Shankachakradharam Devam, Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om Shri Krishnaya Paramatmane Namaha. Om Shri Partha Sarade Namaha. I bow to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe. I bow to the charioteer of Arjuna, and my obeisance to all you noble souls who are attending this session tonight. So we'll just start for the first of the sixth chapter as we did before, and then we can start with the questions, okay? I hope you've thought of lots and lots of questions. Adha Shashtodhyayah Shri Bhagavanuvaja Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karodiyah sasanyasi cha yogi cha nananagharna chakriyah. Hari Om. That's it. Okay, shoot. Yeah.
We always sing this Akhandavandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. It's the first mantra we say for the Gurus. So, Akhandavandalakaram. And what is that Mandalakaram? And what is the Guru Mandala? They say about the Guru Mandala. Please explain about that.
Yeah, Aganta Mandalakaram is the cosmos.
Cosmos.
The whole cosmos, yeah. The whole cosmos, because everything is included in that, you know. And there is only one force, one energy, one power in the world. There are not two. There is no duality in that force. There is duality in the world, but in that force there is only one. It manifests itself in various ways, but the force is one. Like electricity, we know, in the bulb it manifests as light. In the electric this thing it gives heat. In the fridge it gives cold. In the electric chair it can kill you. In the hands of a surgeon it can save you. But the force is one. The whole thing is only that one power, one force, which is electricity. It manifests in different ways. Similarly, there is only one force, one power, one energy in the whole world. There is no two. It's non-dual, otherwise called Advaita, non-dual.
So about the Gurus, we talk about the Gurus.
The Guru Mandala is the same. Guru Mandala is...
That is the Guru Mandala?
Guru Mandala is the same because what does the Guru do?
No different from the Bhagavan himself.
No, because the Guru is only a person who can takes away, removes the ignorance in you. He cannot give you anything. He cannot give you anything which you don't already have. He removes the ignorance. That's why in this he says, Atmanya Atmanatushta Atmanya. Your Ribur Atmaha. You are your own self is your friend and your enemy. He never says, this, the Shakti path and so on and so forth which some gurus give, that is not given in the Gita. The Gita says your own effort. He insists that by your own effort only you can, Uddared Atmanatmanam Atmanam Apasadaye. Only by your own effort the self can be uplifted, and by own effort it can also go down. Because fortunately or unfortunately, the human being has been given the ability, a reasoning capacity of choice. We have choice. Nobody else, no, the animals don't have a choice. That's why we have the Sankalpa, the whole of 6th chapter. Sankalpa, we're constantly having Sankalpa. What will I do tomorrow? What is this? What is going to happen? We're constantly imagining a future which might never come. Because it's not in our control. The future is not in our control. Only the present is in our control. Past is gone. We are always worrying about the past and I should have done like that. If I had done like that, and if this had happened, and if that hadn't happened, this goes on forever. And that if stands stiff in a corner because it is finished. You can't do anything about it. This present is yours. It is your gift by Him. So do the best you can in this very present. The future is not in your control. It is under a cosmic law, which will automatically come according to your action now, this minute. That law will take over. As I told you, the third law of motion. Every action has its equal and opposite reaction. So that's a natural law. You have no control over it. But your action is what gives the reaction. So if your action today is good, the reaction will automatically be good. If your action today is bad, automatically it will be bad reaction. It's an automatic law. You cannot control it. But we think we can control it, we can turn it and twist it. You can control the laws of the land perhaps, bribe even a judge. But you cannot bribe. We think we can. We give lots of money, say I will do such a thing, I will build you a big temple, I will do this, I will do that, please do this for me. We are very clever at trying to subvert and twist even God's arm. But He just laughs. It can't be done. Everything happens not as His wish, as your karma today. Remember that. He does not meddle with your karma. It is that much of, as I told you, He gives us one right. That is to do your duty. Swadharma. That is why Swadharma, make sure He tells Arjuna, do your Swadharma without any expectation of what the future might. Today, that arrow might kill you today. This next moment, you don't know which arrow is your last arrow. But it doesn't matter. Do your best. That is a very, very important aspect of the Gita. We plan and plot and, spend so much of time imagining a future which might never come. So what a waste of time it is. Understand? Yeah?
Just a question. Rather a clarification, because many times there are a lot of doubts raised or questions raised about this verse in chapter 18, verse 67, where Lord Krishna tells Arjuna after finishing his discourse towards the end, the benefits of the Gita, and once he says, never is this to be spoken by you to one who is not austere, nor to one without devotion, nor to him who desires not to listen, nor yet to him who speaks ill of me. So there are a lot of viewpoints of this, because of course one is, if somebody's not listening, is falling on deaf ears. But on the other hand, it's like the first step is information. So by sharing this with someone, because it's not that they don't desire to listen, they may have no knowledge about it. So there's a bit of a dilemma sometimes.
Okay, the question is, should we give this knowledge to people who are not interested, who are not ready to listen? Okay, I'm just making the question here.
No, I think one step further is, it's not that they don't want to listen, they may not be aware of this.
They're not aware of it, they're ignorant of it. Okay. If it's sheer ignorance, then there is no problem. But the fact is, when you try to thrust down some advice on someone who is not ready for it, it is absolute waste of time. Not only that, they may even, make your own by their arguments and so on. For instance, a pakka atheist or I'm sorry to say, one of the Abrahamic religions, they are trying to force down their throat. You try to force this thing down their throat, they just say impossible. It's just absolute waste of your time. Now, any advice, we all love to give advice. We're always happy to give advice to people. But the fact is, advice should be given only to those who are ready to receive it, who come to you asking for advice. At such a time, then give the advice. How many years Arjuna and Krishna lived together? He never gave any advice to Arjuna. In fact, he never gave advice to anyone of even his sons. Only twice in his life he gives advice. One is to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and one is to Uddhava at the end of their life together. So, because he asked for it, Arjuna karpanya dosha ubharada sabhava prichami tvam dharma sammura chedaha yache hatyad bruhitan me shishyaseham shadimam tvam prabannam. I have surrendered. I have surrendered. Therefore, please tell me what is right for me. Before that, he never, any time he could have, my dear Arjuna, come here, sit here, my dear boy, I have something to tell you. He never said that. Why? Because Arjuna was a very proud man. He thought he was the greatest archer in the world, which he was. So why should he ask any question about anybody? Only when he was ready and ripe for that, when his ego was right down, Swam Prabannam, I have surrendered. Only when his ego was right down does the Gita Acharya start giving his advice to him. Otherwise, it would have come through one ear and gone out through the other ear. He would not have understood, he would not have appreciated this is same. That is why that last thing said, don't give it to people who are not ready for it. There is an evolution in all of us, and spiritual evolution is there. And when that spiritual evolution comes at a certain point, you automatically meet your guru, or you meet some people, or you read a book, or something happens. And that is a turning point in your life. When that it is ripe and ready for it. The whole of nature is like that. Even every flower, every bud has to slowly open. So similarly, our inner flowering is a slow process, especially inner growth, spiritual growth. When that reaches a certain time, that is the time you can give them happily, and they will accept and they will follow. Otherwise, you are wasting your time, and they will not listen also. Say, what? Haven't you tried speaking to people who are not interested? They will even try to change your opinion. So that is why this is a very good advice actually, because all of us, we are kind people. When we get some knowledge which we think we should be shared, we love to share it. And it is good, we love to share it, but we have to be careful that Deshe Kale cha Patre cha. Dhanam should be done according to the Desha, Kala and Patra. That means the time, the place and the person. You understand? Even if a person is ripe and ready for that person, if that person is very sad and sorry state, and you tell them, oh come, I want to, they won't listen. And even then, he is ready for a race or something, or ready. At that time, come, I've got something to tell you. No, that's also not the time, space, and the place and the person has to be ready for that. Then that advice, if you give, it will work like this. It's like sometimes, you go to you've led such a lot of, this thing, life, and sometimes, I remember when I was at the age of 16, I went to one of Swami Chinmayananda's talks on the Gita. It was like a spark that just set out something like, I didn't know, it was like fireworks inside me. It blew me out. So that there is a time and place and time for everything. That time if you give, it is good. Other times if you give, it's a waste of your time, and that person will certainly not listen to it. So it's a very important verse actually. Because in our exuberance, in our desire to help others, we might be prompted to go and give this to people who are not deserving of it. Not deserving meaning they have not reached that right evolution as yet to understand this. It's like trying to teach quantum physics to a 5-year-old child. However brilliant the child may be, however great the guru may be, the child just cannot understand it because he is not yet ripe for that. Do the men not have any questions? Yeah. Yeah. Anyone? Yeah.
A lot of people going to Kailash. Is it more of Shiva? Shiva is omnipotent everywhere. Why do we take such interest in going to Kailash?
Why do people go to Kailash when the Shiva Shakti is everywhere? Why do they want to go to Kailash is the question. Well, why do anyone go to temples? Why are you coming here? Everything, everywhere. He's everywhere. You can sit everywhere and get him, no? But there are certain points where the energy is very, very great. And our ancient temples were such points. I don't talk about new modern temples, but our ancient temples, if you go and sit in them, they were kept at certain, the alignment of the, the latitude and the longitude lines, where they were aligned, they were centers of energy. And Kailash is one of the most powerful center of energy. It is said that a person, if you a person who go, say that they age very fast they age. People who go, and they because there's something in that atmosphere which makes you evolve faster. Something there, both physically as well as this thing. So this Kailash as well as any other temple, the same question can arise. You go to these temples or these places of enormous energy, some fantastic energy you feel in those places. That you go to them because from that you can imbibe some of that energy. So that's it, not that it's of course is present everywhere. You don't have to go anywhere. But we have not reached that stage as yet when we can access that energy. You understand? Electricity is everywhere, but you need the bulb and one switch also. Switch has to be put on. Then it will come into action. Not that it's not everywhere, it is everywhere.
One question here. I don't know whether I'm going to ask the right question. It's about, everybody says that when a person is born, he comes with a karma. Now these actions that we do, is there any way that, we sometimes when we do something and they say, oh, it's because of your karmas, it's because of that you're going through this. Is there anything that we can, is there a way that a karma can be changed? Is there a way that we can lessen it, or is there a way that we can improve in any way in that? Why is it that we are coming with this? Is it that we choose this?
So is there a way to subvert our karma is the question. Well, karma is a three-pronged thing. See, there is something called prarabdha karma, there's something called sanchita karma, and there's something called agama karma. So now, prarabdha karma is what you have desired or acted or done something in a previous life. That is why you have been born in such and such a country, in such and such a race, with such and such a belief, and with under certain parents. That you can't change. Finished. Because that is what that was done in the past, and that is what has made you into this place, in the place you are born and everything. That is your prarabdha, what we call my prarabdha. You can't change that. Now, sanchita karma is what is coming now. As you act, today as you keep on acting, certain things will keep coming. Sanchita karma is that which is coming on. That to a certain extent, quite a bit of extent is still in your hand. Not so much because that prarabdha has already molded you into a certain faction. And the things you read, the people you meet, the films you watch, the books you read, have really conditioned it tremendously. We don't realize. We are totally conditioned by all this. So that is, sanchita karma is there. So it is, to some extent we cannot. But still, it may be at some time or somewhere, someone you meet, and as I said, there is a change in you. So that agama karma is there, future is there. That is in your hands. That when you start, because that comes again under the law of karma. As you act, so you shall repeat. So if you act properly, then you get the correct results. You don't have to ask for that. You don't have to beg for results. You don't have to do anything. You just have to do the good actions, and automatic reaction you get. You understand? These are three aspects. Now, to give you get an example, in Puranas we say there is a quiver. Everyone has a quiver with 3 arrows. One arrow has already been shot. That is a prarabdha karma. No control over it. One arrow is already fixed on the bow. But last minute, you can still, there is a possibility of change because it's still not been shot. That is the Sanchita karma. And the final arrow is inside the quiver. That is in your control. As you act, whatever your action is, that will make your future for you. That is in your hand. Understand? So, this is the way of karma. It's not that someone has made you into something or other. You have made yourself. Your actions, your desires, your will, your attitude, that is what shakes your life.
No, but what if now from now what my age is, till I'm coming to the time when if the karma is not good, so what can
Who is doing the karma?
Lila.
If it's not good, it's your fault, not God's fault.
That means that karma has already been fixed. Is it?
It is fixed by you. If you do, my dear child, if you eat bad food today, naturally you will have bad stomach tomorrow.
No, isn't it the one my past that has come?
Past is here. With this,
It's already fixed.
past is finished. You cannot change the past. And that's why I gave you the 3 arrows. One gone forever, one is fixed. But last moment is ability. There is a possibility of shift. But the future, the arrow is still in the quiver. You can always get that. You understand? It is possible. Otherwise, what is the use of all our striving? All sadhana, all yoga is only for that. Because there's every possibility is there for us to reach the highest. Moksha is available for us. Otherwise, why should we strive? Oh, my fault. No use. My kismat mera. What? Kya karu? That means you are just sitting and suffering. Never think that. You have the power to do that.
But I think what Auntie is trying to ask is, I think, if I get it right, I think what Auntie is trying to ask is, can my current karma negate the effects of the previous karma?
What current karma?
Negate the bad effects of the previous karma.
Can my current karma negate this thing of the past karma? Of course not. Of course not. Because prarabdha karma is something finished. No. The arrow has been shot. How can you get it back? And you say the spoken arrow, a spoken word, and I said arrow can never be taken back.
So that's why we have to just keep doing good.
That's why I'm saying you have been given only one right. That is to do your duty. And if you do your duty properly, automatically that natural law will take and see that you get the proper benefit out of that. It's an automatic law. We don't have to bother about it. But we think our botheration is going to make that better. So that's why he says, Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi, Sarva Arambha Parityagi. These 2 words he uses again and again. Because we are always, the man who can totally free of Sankalpa is a true sannyasi. And the true Tyagi is one who has Arambha Parityagi, he who has given up the agency in that karma. He has given up that agency.
When does the current karma take effect? Does it take effect immediately or does it take effect in our next life?
No. Of course, it depends on when does the current karma take effect. Immediately in this life or another life. Now it depends on the karma. Supposing, as I said, if all karmas, supposing you start eating very bad cholesterol-filled food now, it doesn't mean that you will have a heart attack tomorrow. It is a build-up, no? And you will have it in certain other. It may be suddenly something you do, sudden effect. But there are certain other karmas it takes time to come out. So, and maybe at the end of your life, you have not yet finished all of this thing, debts you owe, and you are still desiring and wanting and doing, then it will go into the next life. That's why he says in the chapter on this thing, he says, on, I think 7th chapter, he says that the last thought at the time of death is what acts like a rocket. You shoot you out your next thing. The last thought. Because why is this so important? And people think, at the last, that's why everybody will sit around the man and try to say, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana, chant the 12 chapters in the hope that at least then this poor fellow at the time of death, he will think of God and that. But it not always, what the whole question of the thing of the Gita is, it is a way of life you've been practicing all the time. Otherwise, you will never think of God at the last. Unless, for instance, a mother who is dying when a child is there, she can never think. She can only think of the child at the time of death, isn't it? Similarly, unless we practice it, we can never ever be sure that only a constant practice, Nitya Yoga. Asmat Sarvani Karmani Ma Manusmara Yuddhacha, see what he says, Arjuna. Therefore, Sarvani Yasmat Sarvani Karmani Ma Manusmara Yuddhacha. Think of me and fight. You don't know when is your last arrow. But think of me and fight. And then nothing will harm you. That is the whole point. That constant remembrance. Ananyachintayanto mam. How many times he says that? The constant thought of the Lord has to be practiced. Otherwise, at the end of this thing, like, they have a last communion and all that. One priest will come and tell the man, something, as if he's good. The priest himself is full of something or other. And then he's giving final unction to this man. You're going to heaven. How is it possible? Not possible. I'll tell you a very funny story my guru used to say. There was a very, very, avaricious and mean sort of a man. He was on his deathbed. So everybody tried to, tell him, then they thought, he had 3 sons. One was called Kittu, the middle one was called Krishna, and the last one was called Bittu. So, I don't know how the middle became Krishna. I think his wife must have persuaded him. So they brought Kittu, told him, who is this? He said, my eldest son Kittu, as if I don't know him. Then they brought Krishna and said, who is this? Kittu's younger brother, what else? So then they brought Bittu and said, who is it? My youngest son Bittu. Then again they brought Krishna and said, who is it? He said, Bittu's elder brother. But they could not make him say the word Krishna, whatever happened. Similarly, it is a question of what one has been practicing throughout our life that will make that final call be sweet. Otherwise, it's not possible. At the last moment, if you think that, I can live as I like, but you cannot die as you like. There are certain laws to be followed.
Mataji, many of them, they go to the astrologers and they say, I want to do this pariharam for this bad thing that I'm going through now. Maybe they will find some guide and no one who can. And they will tell you what to do and all. Many people have done that also. So to get over the ill effects of their dharma. What do you say about that?
Yeah, the question is about astrologers and can they avert bad karma. Strangely enough, I don't know when you are following us on the Adiveda Substack, this thing, I don't know. I'll give you this thing. Please send it to everybody. This Sunday's blog is on astrology, Vedic astrology. So, actually, Vedic astrology is very, very high science because the Vedic rishis were very great astronomers. They knew the whole cosmos. They knew everything about long before Westerners did that. So they realized, we don't realize it, but we are a small little planet here in the middle of a huge galaxy. This solar system is only one system in many, many, many solar systems beyond. And it is said that this solar system is also going round, the whole system is going round a huge sun. So they knew all about it. And we also don't realize, but all the planets have amazing influences on us. We know the sun influences us. Without sun, we'll be dead. This is a solar-powered planet. Without sun, there can be no life. But the moon is equally important. And our Vedic system always takes the moon, because why? The moon influences the mind. That's why you find in lunatic asylums and so on, they will always lock the doors. Special precautions are taken on new moon days and full moon days, because they are very highly disturbed. Their minds will be highly disturbed. Now, and also you can understand how much this moon, just look at the influence on the sea. The high tides, it can draw a huge amount of water like an ocean. We are 72% water in our bodies. How do you think the moon cannot influence us? A lot of influence. We don't realize that's all. Similarly, all other planets can influence us. Now, the Vedic astrology was something by which they found out when you are born, at the time of birth, what are the planets which are in ascendancy. The nakshatras, what they call 27 nakshatras, are the constellations, groups of stars. And the nakshatra in which you are born has a lot to do with all the other things which influence you, and it also tells something about the future to the person who knows it, who can understand and read this. So it is a very great science, and if your horoscope has been cast by a really good person with the correct, absolutely correct time, date and time, then it will give a very good picture of what your life is now and what it will be in future also. So, and then again you need an astrologer these astrologers were also great saints. They cannot live as they like, drink and go this thing and all that. In olden days, astrologers were very great saints actually. They lived a very disciplined life, because of which they were also the power to understand and tell you this chart, and then they will take what are called pariharas, or which you can do in order to avert what is to come. That is, they cannot totally avert, but they can make it less. So they give you certain things. So if it is all, it's a wonderful science. If it is your chart is correctly made, your birth chart, and if you have the correct astrologer who knows about it, then it is a very good, wonderful method by which you can subvert or you can overcome certain things. On the other hand, we have also told that when a person has totally surrendered, when you are a bhakta who has total surrender to that cause, which is all what the Gita is always talking about, when that is there, then why should we bother? If a bad thing has come, it's his wish. Let it be. He will see that I am if I'm supposed to have a rock fall on my head as I'm going through the Ghat roads in Rishikesh, he will see that it's only a pebble, not a huge rock. If I have that faith, I don't need any astrologer. But when 99% of people don't have that faith, so for them it is good if they have the proper chart. That's very important. Two important things. Their chart should be very, very, very correct. Correct timing. And a person who can correctly read it also, an astrologer of a high, this thing. So then if those are two, then definitely it will help people, because a lot of people are, so indefinite and so worried and so anxious and so stressed out. So for such a person it will be fine. But for a bhakta of God who has no worries, no stresses, cool, absolutely fine. Why? Everything comes as he wishes. Why should I bother? Is the question. There are the two different aspects. Okay, it is a good science, but not for the bhakta. And please read my blog next week. Next Sunday, this blog is coming, and I'm also introducing one of ashram astrologers. Very, very good man, and he's a very, very fine person. He's from Kerala, and young boy, very young boy, but amazing how his this thing. So if you want to consult him, we are giving his address also. Online consultations.
Mataji, sorry. I too had a question about karma, but not so. It's clear to me, like you reap what you sow. I get that very clearly. But my question is with regards to karmas with other people. So, for example, clearly all of us must have done something right at some point that we're all here together in your presence at this particular time. But same thing with other things, like when a plane crashes or something like that. But how do you, if say you have decided that, okay, you want to, try to clear your debts with a certain person, but you can't control it the other way. So how do you manage the karmic bonds from the others?
How do you manage karmic bonds from others? So of course we are karmically connected. All of us, we are sitting here, we have a karma. Any person you meet, even for a few seconds, there's some slight bond, and definitely a great bond with those you are married to, and your mother and father and sister, siblings, and all that. So how do you get over those karmic bonds? Now the thing is always never to react to whatever they do or say, which is a difficult thing, obviously, but you have to respond, not to react. Because the moment you react, you are forging another link. Because you are taking on this thing. They are getting angry and they are shouting at you. And you also react and shout back at them. Where is it? Then there will be another link, another thing. And even if you finish off with one person and you get rid of him or something, you will find yourself in another situation very, very similar to the situation, where you will be again tested. The same situation, may be a different person, but karma will not leave you until you dissolve that particular thing inside yourself, inside yourself. That has to be dissolved inside yourself. When you forgive, for instance, you realize that you don't and you respond. But of course, in certain cases, if you have to be a little harsh, like for protection of your dharma, protection of your life, you can, of course, retaliate. That is very important. That is all of Kurukshetra was to protect the dharma. That is very important. But ordinarily, so much of relationships we have, which somehow they get sour. We don't get on. We just have to understand and try to forgive. Otherwise, it will definitely add one more link to the chain of karma, and you will have to face that same situation sometime or other. It will not leave you until it's totally clear. That is why in Hinduism we don't have eternal hell or anything. They will just keep you, if you fail in the first class, in your second class, you have to repeat that class again, that's all. They fail you and send you out of the school. You just have to repeat the class. So as far as possible, we try to respond and understand their point of view, because everybody has some problem or other, and they're all human beings, and we are all going under the same sort of troubles. Each one has their own little troubles. If you can find out and understand their problem, and then only you can forgive them. Otherwise, constantly, she's done, that whole situation deteriorates like crazy. So it's a difficult thing, but this is the only option we have, really speaking.
So the test is even harder when it is family.
Yes. It's harder when it's family. Of course, it's harder when it's family.
Yeah. So that is your bigger test, your bigger karma.
Yes. We have a greater karma with all the members of our family, no doubt about it. That's why we will put in that particular positions. But even there, the same thing works. We have to understand what makes them say such things. I'm constantly getting girls who come and say, my parents insist that I get married. I don't want to get married now. I prefer to go and do a job. So many questions like that. What to do? The parents are, they are very anxious somehow that the girls should get married and so on. But you have to understand that. Keep on telling them, understand the parents' point of view. But generation gap now is so much bigger than it was in our times. In our times we were more, complacent, and what the parents said we were happy to do. But now they're not. Children have their own economic security there for them now. Before, the economic security was only with the husband. Today, every young girl she works, so she has she doesn't have to depend on a man. So she can say, I don't want to get married, which many people do. So the family doesn't understand. So the family, this thing is, again, you have to try to talk to them, tell the parents, you must understand. And if you simply can't do it, then take a job somewhere in another town and say, I'll come for holidays instead of keeping staying there and keeping on fighting all the time. It's just not worth it.
On that topic, what is your perspective on social media and the effect on the younger generation?
What's the effect of social media on the younger generation? I think it's a terrible, terrible effect. That is the whole point, is that this, we are being buffeted. Like, as I told you, the planets are always raining there. This thing. Here, the social media is what is on all sides. The amount of useless information that is being pumped into us, and in the amount of excitement that everyone needs now. Before, when a child is given a small little toy or something like that, he's very happy. Now you give him the most expensive toy, he's still not happy because he wants something else. He's seen it on the WhatsApp that something is given, and there are so many things that there is no end to their desires and needs. It just makes us desire more and more. And of course, I don't have to tell you, half the thing is going on which is connected with porn, I hear. It's a terrible thing, 75% I hear. You can imagine how much of this stuff is being pumped into young, innocent minds, which makes them feel that life is nothing but, just having a good time by this bungee jumping and something, more and more excitement, because only then they get some adrenaline flow and they get better. And the drugs, what about the drugs going on now? This is all meant to make the person feel as if, they're on top of the world. For how long? It's a terrible, terrible thing. But what to do? We cannot control it anymore. It's beyond our control. As I said, human beings, we have made our own life. We have to bear the consequences. We have invented too many things. And like this man invented a machine which was going to, man who was going to gobble him up in the end. That story of, the story of what is this, Bhasmasura. Bhasmasura is the story of that. I don't know whether you know, the Bhasmasura was a asura who got a boon from Shiva. He got a boon from Shiva that he could, anyone on whose head he put his hand will turn into ashes. So Bhasmasura, being an asura, decided to try it out first of all on Shiva himself, who gave him the boon. So he ran after Shiva. Shiva was supposed to have ran off somewhere else and went to Vaikunta and asked Vishnu to help him. Now Vishnu was very clever. She came in the form of a Mohini again and told Bhasmasura and the asura is of course very famous for falling for female charms. So Mohini said, I will teach you some dancing, and so he started, one by one she started, and he has to follow that. Eventually one pose she put her own hand on her own head, and he also did the same. And of course he was reduced to a heap of ashes. Similarly, what we have gone and done for ourselves is something which is going to destroy us. And in one way, of course, this media and all, and which we can speak to anyone in a few seconds is wonderful, no doubt. But on the other hand, too much of technology, I feel, too much, and we prefer to watch sunset on the TV rather than go out and watch it on this thing, because it's so big and so big bang, and then the lightning and all is so much more interesting here than outside. So we've totally lost contact with nature. We're totally dependent on all this media. So naturally it's going to be, it is definitely bringing in the new generation, as I said. They can't help it. They are born into it. They can't help it. So we are on a roller skater, on a train which has lost it breaks. It's hurtling at I don't know how many miles per hour towards its own destruction. That's why we're all on that train. We can't help it. God knows what else we are going to, technology is going to give us. We don't, now we had 2G, 3G, 4G, now I say 5G also is there. God knows how many Gs. And there is a saying that they say that these are when these so many waves are there, these are all waves in the air, These are what cause these viruses. Viruses come out because of these so many these things in the air is what they say, these extra, who knows what to do.
Mataji, I have a question. Chapter 10, the Lord talks about his divine devotees. He goes to many devotees. So one of the devotees that I'm curious is because, not curious, maybe a bit more understanding or information. In verse 29, he says, Pitrinam Rimachasmi. Pitri Anantascha Sminaganam Varuna Yadasamanam Pitrinam Rimachasmi Yamasamimatamanam. So of the Pitras are Aryaman.
Aryaman, huh?
So just wondering, why is there any particular reason for
choosing Aryaman as a Pit?
Because you mentioned many devotees, so one of them was on the Pitris, Pitranams. So just wondering, what is the importance of this?
Aryaman, they have different logas. We have different logas. Pitra loga is one of the logas. Now these logas are subtle realms. Even in this planet, we have subtle realms. If you use a microscope, if you examine a leaf or something, you will find a whole lot of activity and stuff going on with it. I think even more microscopic level, there's so many other worlds and worlds going on. So there are worlds and worlds even in this very realm. Like that, there are very logas, it's said. And Pitra loga is one of the logas. So in each of these logas, he will say that in the Pitra loga, Aryaman was the one who was the first amongst the Pitra logas. So he says, I am Aryaman amongst the Pitras. So each loga has their own special, the Swarga loga, Indra is the one who is in charge. Like that, each loga has something or other, someone or other in charge. So the greatest of each classification of things, he says, I am the highest. Because why? He's trying to teach an ordinary man how to find God in the, you can think of God as the Himalayas, but can you think of him in a grain of sand? Same thing, the Himalayas are made of many, many grains of sand. You can think of him as Rama, but can you think of him as Ravana? So that, you see, that the idea in the 10th chapter, Vibhuti Yoga, he teaches like children are taught. There are two methods of teaching children. Either you teach them the easy letters, A, like that. And then the curved letters, like C. Then the multiple letters, both curve and this thing. That is a method of teaching. So similarly, he is also teaching people, first of all, learn to see me in the big and the mighty and the beautiful. Afterwards, slowly you have to learn to see me in the small, the insignificant and the ugly also speaking. So this is a method by which the gradient, how children are being taught. Just similarly, we are all spiritually, we are all children. So he teaches in Vibhuti Yoga to go step by step.
This may be a simple question to you. The karmic actions, is it applicable to every human being on this world? I mean, say for example, other religion, the Abrahamic religion, they don't believe in all these things. Muslims neither. How are we going to?
What did you say? But what was the question?
This karmic action, is it applicable to those people who are of different...
Does karma apply to other people? It's a question. Karma is a natural law. The law of karma is a natural law. It knows no limitations, it knows no this. Like the natural law of the fire is to burn. Even if a child puts his hand into that, it will burn. It will not say, oh poor child, I won't burn him. Not possible. It's a natural law. So the law of karma is a natural law. So what if they are Muslims or Christians or atheists or whatever they are human beings. And all human beings come under the law of karma. Only we come under, the animals don't come because they don't have a reasoning capacity. They are automated. They are from the beginning. They know. They don't have sankalpa. They don't have worry about the past. They only worry about today. The animals. But we have the ability to reasonable capacity. So naturally we come under the law of karma. As our attitude, as our desire, as our motivation, so does that retaliation of the law of karma work. Does not matter what you are, who you are. As long as you are a human being, you must come under that law of karma.
But they don't believe it. They say no, we don't have reincarnation. The other religions won't believe.
Whether they believe or not, poor things, they think that either they do good, they will go and get so many beautiful women coming, and if they kill an infidel, and I'd like to see their faces when they die and go to hellfire, and nobody there to greet them. All the others Christians will say, if you do bad and you go straight to hell. What sort of hell? Eternal hell. Imagine. What a God who will give eternal hell to any child. Will any father give that to him? Eternal hell. Whatever the crime the son has committed. So we are the only religion which does not believe in such things. You make your own future. If you want to make yourself better, by all means, it's in your hand. It is not, don't blame God, don't blame even your mother. Everybody blames their mother. Because my mother brought me up badly, I'm like this. But you cannot blame anyone but yourself.
So, to be born a Hindu,
Huh?
that you are actually on a higher level.
Of course you are born a Hindu, but unfortunately all Hindus don't know all this. The Hindus are more influenced by Christianity than by Hinduism, unfortunately, because of the number of years we have been under foreign rule and so on. They have shoved their ideas into us.
So our blessings are even greater.
So it's very important.
Mataji, but animals like dogs, they are dogs because of certain karmas that they have done, that they are dogs now, right? I mean, you have some dogs who are on the streets in the cold, and then you have some dogs like mine who are the king of the house. So I mean, they might not gain, and I mean, they're not making karmic debts now.
No karmic debts.
But they are the reason.
They're paying up all their debts. They pay up. In a short doggy life, they pay. Compassionate nature gives them a short animal life in which they can, even a tiger for instance, if you have tigerish thing in human beings, it's said that they, one short tiger's life, they get rid of that vasanas, and then they get another chance, again another chance.
Okay, so Mataji, on that note, in the Gurud Puran, which I've heard a few times, I might be wrong, so please correct me. It is said that when you leave this world and you reach, and it's presented to you, everything that you have done, it is you who chooses what you want to pay off when. So is that true? Like I would choose to be a tiger just to pay this off, knowing that I might come back again as
actually that is under that law. It is a law. We have a beautiful this thing for that, Chitragupta. We say the person who notes down every, not only action, every thought that you have, he's got and what is the meaning of Chitragupta? Secret photos. They knew, only now we know about CCTV cameras. We knew about it long ago. We had a person like it called Chitragupta, secret photos taken of every human being's attitude, motivation, everything. And that is under that law, which automatically works to give you your just deserts. Everybody gets what he or she deserves, neither more nor less. It's very just. It's not that it only punishes you, it gives you very good life. So all of you are, in such wonderful lives all of you have here. Think of people who are starving in Africa or things like that. So it is a very just law. It doesn't leave out anything. The whole thing comes under that law. We really can't, I don't think, can choose. But unless, again, maybe there is some choice where even that I feel is not a choice. For that the Jivatma who enters into that particular womb, that is also under that, I feel, like under the law by which it can best fulfill its desires. And in that particular womb, in that particular situation, everything, that is chosen. That will be the one through which it will manifest itself into another birth.
So can a doggy, when he passes away, the dog's soul, can that get into the womb of a human being?
Can a dog's soul get into the womb of a human being?
It's a loving dog.
Yes, maybe. I remember when my dog died, one of them at least, I had many dogs, but when I cremated it, took the ashes and put it in the Ganga and said, may you have a human life in your next, maybe it came out as a human being, who knows, it's possible, I think. But I don't know if it's a dog's intention, because dogs may not. It is the owner. Owner must make that particular, sankalp for that dog. And then it might come into this thing, I think. It's possible, because our own sankalps have a lot of force. The mind.
Mataji, I've been told that the Guru tries not to interfere with the law of karma. But I've also heard that the Guru sometimes mitigates the effect of the karma. Could I have your comment on this?
See, I don't know about, maybe some gurus are capable, a Sadguru should be capable of taking away your karma. But that, to I think, is interfering in that law. And according to Gita does not agree with that. Bhagavan says that everyone has to make himself better. He does not say, he could easily have said, get a guru who will give you Shaktipat, and that's it. You are made for life. He doesn't say that. He says everyone has to make their own. Because the whole thing is so scientific. Never something is miraculous about. Everything is a very beautifully scientific this thing he is given. So if we make our own choices, we make our own effort, and that will be recorded, and you will be given full benefit of that. There will be no loss. There will be no loss of anything. I says there is never a fault for such a man. Kaunteya pradijanehi name bhakta pranashyadi. I swear to you, O son of Kunti, that my bhakta can never fall. Why? Because his bhakta is one who has surrendered, and therefore he can do it for you. And perhaps a great guru may also do, but that will depend. He will be able to judge whether that particular Jivatma is ready and right for that. In which case, perhaps he could give a final this thing. But otherwise, I don't think he will interfere in the law of the karma.
Mataji, to the same question. My question is, there are a lot of these palm leaf readings, and they go back to maybe 2 or 3 generations or the lives earlier. And they say, when you do the pariharam, whatever pariharam you do, that can be erased. So, how do you look into that?
See, the pariharam, because again it is our mind. Our mind has the power to erase the things of our previous generations. That's why we are so particular about doing kriyas for those who have died. Those kriyas are very, very important, and we are the only ones who do that. By that soul can attain higher this thing, because our mind wills it. our mind is happy to help them onwards in the onward journey. And when that is there, I think that law just works and allows that to be raised and let them go higher. So it's very important. We are the only ones who do these kriyas, and that's very, very important. And nowadays people think, oh, what is there? We just do some poor feeding and all, it's okay. Poor feeding is very good, no doubt, it should be done. But our kriyas are so scientific that they actually help that soul, that jivatma on its onward journey, and that pariharams can be done, I feel. That is because that is how our scriptures are very clear on that point.
Yeah, but the soul is already gone. How long does it take to go to the soul world?
The jivatma, don't use the word soul. It's a totally wrong word. The English, the Christian thing has no word for that. The atma, the jivatma, it will hover around that body which it has loved so much. It will hover around as long as this body is kept. That's why in our culture, the faster you cremate, not even bury, the faster you cremate that body, the more that then the jivatma understands. No way I can go. In fact, that's why we close all the orifices. Why? Because it all apparently tries to come back into that body through one of these orifices. Because it doesn't want to leave that body which it has lived and been so happy with. So we take all these precautions because we know ours is a scientific religion, not it's full of science. Therefore, the faster you get rid of that body, the better for it. That jivatma will hover around until that body is not there. Then it will suddenly think, and then the kriyas are there. In the kriyas, what do we say? That go forward, go onward. You're finished with this planet, this plane of existence is over. Go on forward. There is more things, there are more experiences to be had in some other loka or something. Go forward. And then it thinks. And in that, you see, our thought we can go to India now, but our body is still here. But this jivatma has no body. So the moment it thinks, it is there. That's why that thoughts are given in our kriyas again and again. This is not the place for you. This is finished you with. Go forward, go forward. And immediately it goes off into that. So that kriyas are very important. If the kriyas are not done, it will still hover around. And I'm sure even with the burial and all that, that's why cemeteries which people are buried are very, very frightening places. You know, they just they will hover around. They'll do God knows how on it. But according to others, this is how it is done. That atma it goes forward until it attains either liberation, which is a great soul, or it takes another birth.
These kriyas usually they last for about. In my Sindhi community, it lasts for 12 days. What about after that? Among the Sindhi community, we have every month we do something, and then on the 11th and a half month, we keep a Bhagavad, the part of the Bhagavad. What happens if this is not done right now and done later on? Does it change anything?
The question is whether the kriya can be done later after the thing and the part and all that can be done. You see, any time you do it is good, but until it is fully done, that jivatma will be, I feel it will hover around the places it has known. It doesn't know. That ideas have to be given to it. Unless it's an evolved soul, in which case it has no contact, it has no attachment anymore left in an evolved soul. But those who are not, they're still attached, they should be given the ideas. All these parts and all these kriyas make them understand that there are more logas. Why should we limit ourselves only to this loga? There are more logas, and it helps them to go further and further.
So you advocate we should do all the full set of whatever?
It is very good because these are all scientifically been proved from ages along, ages. The way that we have our Puranas and other things have described the path of the Jivatma after that. Also so many things our rishis knew which West did not know until the 20th century in fact. They knew everything. So why should we not believe that this is also true? We cannot, of course, have 100% proof that this is true. But because all the things they have said and taught to us are true, we have to believe that this is also true.
Mataji,
Yeah.
can you give a tips on how to control our mind and thoughts?
How to control our mind and thought? This is the $1 million question which everybody asks. See, that is why we have been given mantra, pranayama. First of all, before you sit for meditation, do pranayama. Because breath and mind are very closely connected. When you are angry, when you are frightened, your breath is very fast. You cannot be angry if your breath is slow. The moment you are angry, sit down and try to breathe slowly, anger will go immediately. But you can't do that, of course. When you are angry, you are just blow out top, that's all. So, breath and mind are very closely, emotions are closely connected. Therefore, we are always asked to do pranayama before starting meditation. Very important. Then, another method of controlling the mind is the mantra. Mantra is something which will steady us, because mind cannot live without thoughts. What is the mind after all? Where is the mind? Somebody say here, somebody say, but it is only a flow of thoughts, isn't it? So, in that flow of thoughts, if you want to control the flow, you have to give it another thought. So, instead of hundreds and thousands of thoughts, give it one thought, which is a mantra. We have a beautiful example given in the Puranas. One man caught hold of a spirit. Now, the spirit said he will do anything the man wants. But one condition is that you must keep me occupied all the time. Otherwise, I'll eat you up. So then the man said, that thought is very easy. But how much can you keep desiring? What all can you keep? He exhausted in about 1 hour, he finished all the. And the spirit said, give me more, give me more. And he started gobbling up. He ran to his guru and said, oh, the spirit is like this, and what to do. So Bhagavan said, the Guru said, you just ask him to build one huge non-rusting pillar which is well oiled, and ask him to climb up to the top. So he kept going, he couldn't climb, he never reached, he'd fall down again, he'd fall down again. So this is what that is. We say that the spirit is that mind which is always active, always. Put it on this thing of the mantra, constant repetition of the mantra, and he will not trouble you with other thoughts. So the two ways, pranayama, very important, very important. Every day we should practice pranayama. At least 10 to 15 minutes of pranayama. Sukha pranayama is enough. There are so many different types of pranayama. Don't worry. Just at least sukha pranayama, and then remember, try to remember the mantra. Whenever you are in this thing and dial a match, you feel stressful, immediately start off the mantra in your head. And make it a practice, daily practice, that you repeat the mantra, then you will find that it's easier to control the mind.
Thank you.
Yes. Only one last question and then we'll be done.
I have no person has been admitted to the hospital.
I can't hear him.
Person has been admitted to hospital.
Huh?
A person has been admitted to hospital. And today, she is in a coma. How do you consider some prayer which will bring her out of the coma? Do you have anything in our Bhagavad Gita which says all acts, that's chapter 4, it says all act is an act of prayer. So what do we look at when we see a person in coma, and she has been in coma for maybe more than 6 months? What would you say we can do to bring her back to her senses?
How to bring back a person who is in a coma for a long time. Now, this is the thing that how is that Jivatma being sustained in that coma? Obviously, you have put her on a various types of whatever life-saving devices, isn't it?
See, the person is alive. She's breathing naturally. There is life in her, and she responds to certain treatments. But she's in a coma. How would you?
So normally for us, the mantra which we all give in such cases. In fact, very recently I was somebody was quite a fairly young girl, and she was in this coma like this, and they called me and said, "What could you?" And I immediately started repeating to the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. The Mahamrityunjaya mantra: Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Swagandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvaruvandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyam Amridad. Now this Mahamrityunjaya mantra is a very, very amazing mantra. The Mahamrityunjaya yantra also there is. It is for rejuvenating of life. It is combined with, it has a lot to do with that yantra, the Mahamrityunjaya yantra also has the golden this thing which all plants, everything. What is it called? The golden. No, I forget. Anyway, so the golden, all plants, all this thing. When now they make into they make themselves, even the flowers. You will notice that pattern is followed. Beautiful pattern. That is the Mahamrityunjaya pattern, which is rejuvenating. So that mantra, if you repeat to the person, it will sink into the head that is no point hanging on in a coma in this life. Life keeps rejuvenating again and again. It keeps rejuvenating like a plant. A plant, they have what is this? Urvaruvandhanat. What is this? People say it's cucumber. It's not cucumber. It's actually urvaru is a kind of this thing which where it bursts open and the seeds fly off here and there all over because it's rejuvenating. It flies off as fast as possible. Similarly, this Mahamrityunjaya mantra, when you say that, sinks into there, and they will realize that this is not the end of life. Living like this is not on the subtle level. It will work on the subtle level, and they will decide that it is better to let go of this life and go on, because life is never ending. It goes on and on and on. Let me go forward. So actually I repeated this to her, and very soon afterwards she let go, I think. She let go and she passed away.
Okay.
Yeah? Yeah? The what? So we should stop? Okay. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhavet Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Hari Om Tats